I'm not even a giant fan of nature. Okay, when I say I'm not a giant fan of nature, all I basically mean is I'm not that outdoorsy of a person, and I love the sun, and I love looking at the water, and I actually love being in the water. I like to walk, but I don't like to, I hate going into the woods. I hate hiking in the woods. I hate being hot and sweaty and gross. Hi, hey BookTube, this is Kim at Middle of the Book March. Let's see. Summer's not my best season because I go outside and it's hot and sweaty and it's kind of gross. If I can be in the water in the summer, I have conditions. Nature and I have conditions. It's not an unconditional relationship here, but I am doing the nature book tag today, if you couldn't tell already. And I was tagged by Jolene at Bookworm Adventure Girl, and the original tag was created by Tasman at TasMe2 and Anya at Well Traveled Books. I'm hoping those are not channels that I subscribe to, but if they're still up, I will load those original videos along with Jolene's in the description box below. This tag has 10 prompts, and it's all about nature books and questions. So let's get rolling. Number 1, what is your favorite book that has a heavy focus on nature? Could be from all genres. This was really hard for me because there's so many. And the one I gravitated to, actually I bumped way down on the list to apply to a different prompt. So for this first question I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because I couldn't pick. But there are so many. There are so many others out there. Now, when I hear the word nature, I think of a lot of different things. I think of the outside world, the environment, animals, anything else, anything nature related, plant life, anything. So the first 2 books are classics or classic adjacent, and they have more to do with environment and atmosphere. Now in November by Josephine Johnson. Whoever is surprised by this doesn't know me at all. But this was Johnson's Pulitzer Prize winning novel from 1934 when she was 24 years old. This book is, I don't have words. This is up in a Middlemarch status for me for this era of writing. This is just an exquisite book. Just bleak, but so powerful. The atmosphere of the Dust Bowl in the Depression era United States is so well written by such a young woman. This is one of my favorite books of all time. Very similar to that is The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck, which I just recently reread. And same thing, it's such an exquisite book, and Steinbeck writes the American Southwest into California as such an expert, such a master of American literature, describing the countryside, describing the conditions that human beings had to survive. It's just impeccably written. The 5th Season by N.K. Jemisin, science fiction. This is basically about environmental disaster, science fiction, dystopian type of story. The misuse of natural resources, the reconsideration of natural resources in the natural world, wrapped up in sci-fi. Just loved it. Absolutely loved it. And this is the 4th one. The Soul of an Octopus by Cy Montgomery. She is a naturalist and an animal researcher. This was one of my favorite books of all time that I found because of BookTube. And it is so wonderful. And what she writes about octopuses, yes, that's the plural. She actually studied them at the Boston Aquarium. And this is just a beautiful book. She is a wonderfully warm, animal-centric person. Highly recommend that one. Now, this one is also fiction, and this is on my list of favorite books of all times, as well as Kelly from Books I'm Not Reading, who, spoiler alert, I'm tagging. But this is The Orchardist by Amanda Copland. This is an extremely underexposed novel set in the turn of the 20th century in rural Pacific Northwest. This is a reclusive orchardist, William Talmadge, tends to apples. Just gorgeous, environmental, atmospheric, natural fiction writing. It is beautiful, and I urge you to search this book out and buy it, and then read it. Okay, number 2, which book gave you a wake-up call, climate or otherwise? This isn't climate related, but it is natural related. It's The Feather Thief by Kirk Wallace Johnson. And Beauty Obsession and the Natural History Heist of the Century. I read this with Heidi, who, if you are unaware, is one of the best nonfiction-centric booktubers out there. And she and Doris from All D Books run the Book Naturalist Book Club. She and I read this a while back. Both Heidi and Doris are just extremely great resources for nonfiction recommendations, but also books about nature and science. So this one was one we both read together, blew us away. It's basically about a heist of exotic bird feathers in order to make fishing ties, fly tying. I'm not even going to edit that out. It's fly tying. I'm not going to edit it out at all. But this was just like, I had no idea, literally no idea that this desire to steal this stuff ever existed, and why. Just such a great book. Number 2, another book that gave me a wake-up call is Paradise Falls by Keith O'Brien. This is, again, if you haven't watched my channel, you know this book has appeared in so many of my videos. This is the story of the environmental disaster of Love Canal. And talk about a wake-up call. I knew what Love Canal was just by frame of reference, but had never really learned anything about it. But one of the best pieces of narrative nonfiction I never would have picked up had it not been for the BookTube Prize. I already said that about that book. Number 3, your favorite book cover that features nature. I have my favorite book cover. I haven't even read the book yet, but this is called Blue, In Search of Nature's Rarest Color by Kai Cooperschmidt. I absolutely love this cover and the blue sprayed edges. It is such a gorgeous book, filled with photographs of the color blue. It is just so pretty. Let's see, one more. It's just so gorgeous. It's such a beautiful, and it's a beautifully made book. That's that really like heavy photo paper. Number 4, a book that discusses revolution and change, Rachel Carson's Silent Spring. This one is the Library of America version. It also has on other writings and the environment. This book I will be reading sometime this year because this is on my 24 and 24 video for nonfiction. And I don't really have to describe Silent Spring, but just a book that changed the world, really. And about, it was an unlikely bestseller when published in the fall of 1962 about the unintended consequences of pesticides. So I will be getting to this book this year. Let's see. Number 5, do you read outside? And if yes, where is your favorite spot to do so? I do when I can. Not really that often. At my house, when it's nice out, we used to have my back deck set up with like a big umbrella and an outdoor carpet for the deck and chairs. I don't have that anymore. We had, oh my gosh, we had this whole umbrella system that literally blew off my desk and ended up in the neighbor's deck and ended up in the neighbor's yard. Haven't done that again. But I would love to have some reading spot outdoors, just a nice comfortable chair to sit in. I have been found to read outside. We have a park that we often will go to and sit on benches, and I might bring a book with me and read. Let's see. Number 6, your favorite Indigenous author or book. This is my favorite Indigenous book, Blanket Toss Under Midnight Sun by Paul C. Sakwasis. This is a nonfiction book with some of the most amazing photographs ever. This is, let me read you a little bit of the blurb. This is one I want to read. 2015, writer and journalist Paul C. Sakwasis found himself grappling with the devastating findings of Canada's Truth and Reconciliation Commission report on the residential school system. He sought understanding and inspiration in the stories of his mother, herself a residential school survivor. That's all I'm going to read, but this book is a photo history of this community. And there are so many pictures of the people, of the surroundings, the culture, the artwork, and he looked up so many pictures and so many pieces of Indigenous history for this book. And there's text along with it. It's a beautiful book to look at and to read. Let's see, number 7, a book that takes place outside or features nature as a character, e.g. an animal or a tree. This book was going to be my number 1 of my favorite book that talks about nature or has a heavy focus on nature. And I think Jolene may have featured this one in her tag as well. But it's Greenwood by Michael Christie. This is a book about trees. It's fiction. And it's also one of the most beautiful books I own. It's this copper foil. Those are the edges of the book. And this book was made from all recycled materials because they are extremely concerned of nature conservants. 100% recycled, made from 100% post-consumer waste, and is ancient forest friendly. Let's see. The text, paper, and cover boards are both certified by the Forest Stewardship Council, and it's printed with only vegetable-based inks, which is more biodegradable, and the case-making adhesives are water-based, renewable, and recyclable. This is a book, let me see if I can show you this page. Oh, here it is, yep. That is the cross-section of a tree, and these are years. And the book is written in an incredibly creative format, and it starts off in the future, and it goes to the past, stops in the middle, then starts going back to the future. And but it's all nature-related topics, conservation, logging, everything, environmentalism. It's just a fantastic novel. What else? Oh, this was an interesting question. Number 8, which book genres do you associate with each of the 4 elements? Air, earth, fire, and water. And I thought this was going to be difficult for me to designate, but it wasn't. For whatever reason, all these things just came to me. When I think of air, I think of needing air to live, and immediately I thought of classics, because I thought of George Eliot. And modern classics could fall into that as well, but classics I need. I need classics in my life, and so happy that I have them. Earth to me is foundation, and below that is rock, like granite. And to me, that's nonfiction, foundational stuff. So that could be, typically when I think of nonfiction, people like Heidi and Doris often think of nature writing. I think of history, or not even just American history, but world history, or real life events, that type of thing. Fire, honestly, thrillers, mysteries, police procedurals, that's fire to me. And I think there's a book, The Girl That Played with Fire, or something like that. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and yeah, a lot of those on my shelf, a lot of those thrillers. And then the last one is water. When I thought of water, I thought of fluidity and changeability. To me, for whatever reason, that screamed translated fiction. I don't know, maybe because of the fluidity of language and the translation of language, the way language flows and can be created and poured out on the page. Maybe I'm reaching. Maybe that's a reach. I don't know, but that's how I thought of it. Number 9, we are all connected. Name a book that brought you community. It could be from a book club, buddy read, etc., or made you think about community. This was literally a group read on BookTube a few years back, and this was a 1-year-long read along with a large group of people. Again, another book I've talked about ad nauseum is These Truths by Jill Lepore. This is American history. It's not nature writing, but this book brought me community because I met so many people on this read along that I didn't know that I now still talk to or just love having as friends. And this book taught me so much. It really did, about my own country. But this was what community is supposed to be, is just all getting together over a book. Could be any book. And the last prompt is number 10. Have you ever participated in Climathon, or are you planning to? I embarrassingly don't even know what that is. And are you planning to? No, because I don't know what it is. I'm assuming, and I did not even research it in advance, I'm assuming it has to do with climate change, environmentalism, activism, and I'm assuming there's a book-related event for that, but no, I will not be taking part unless I go and look into it and am very driven to do it. That is it for the nature book tag. I'm tagging some people. I am tagging Kelly at Books I'm Not Reading because we both love Now in November and The Orchardist. I am tagging Angela at Angela's Bookcase because Angela lives in Australia, I believe, and I would love to hear your answers to this one. Hillary at Book Bustle. I saw you planting plants on one of your videos, and I thought, I think Hillary might be good for this tag. Pat at Book Chat with Pat. I love Pat. She's a new booktuber, a longtime commenter and subscriber, but I would love to hear your answers to this, Pat. And David at David Novak Reads Poetry. I want to find out if Mary Oliver comes up on David Novak's list or if he's even a fan. So thank you all. If you are tagged, there is no pressure to do the tag. If you don't want to or don't have time, you don't even have to worry about it. But if you do choose to do it, please hashtag or tag me with the ampersand. It's not an ampersand, it's the @ sign. What is that called? I don't remember. But let me know that you did the tag so I can go find your answers, or just mention me in the description box so I can go and watch your video. Thanks everybody. Let me know in the comments below what you think, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.